you don't need to do that. We want to start today though. There was some American record last night in the 10,000 from Grant Fisher. Another just insanely quick race across the boards, men's and women's, at the 10 in Southern California. Fisher goes 26:33. Gordon. Betters Galen Rupp's record by a whole bunch. Mohamed breaks his own Canadian record, running 26:34. It's been quite a last few weeks for Mr. Fisher with the indoor 5,000 American record, and now an even bigger accomplishment outdoors in the 10,000. 26:33. Did you think that was in the cards?
I mean, in hindsight, yes. In before the race, no. But after the race, you're kind of like, okay, actually, this kind of makes sense. You just did run 12:53 like 2 weeks ago on an indoor track. Clearly, he has the best setup possible for him to go after these records with multiple teammates rabbiting. They had the wave light technology on the track, so they had lights on the track. They moved the event from Saturday to Sunday because of wind, so he had the weather on his side. Everything was set up for him to have no excuse. You don't like to not have it. You're like, it wasn't a good day, or just the pacing was off. He had all the reasons to run well, and because of his talent, it worked out. And I do think we're in a different time, right? Of track and field. It's kind of wild to see someone like Galen Rupp's record get broken like in a span of like 3 weeks in both indoor 5K and outdoor 10K. I saw someone post like Galen Rupp only now has two American records left. They're both
Yeah.
indoor, an indoor 3K and an indoor 2 mile, which is just wild to show how quickly one of the greatest of all time in the U.S. is now not number one in the most of the record books. But Fisher, this is what we thought his career was going to become. Coming out of high school, his first few years at Stanford, you're like, this guy can be the next guy. And Fisher now is living in it. He's in the prime of his prime. And this makes sense. He is one of the greatest U.S. distance runners we've seen. And he's been training well. He's had a great, 5 to 10 years of steady progression. And now that he's at Bowerman, he's all firing on all full cylinders. And now I think he's shown that he has a talent to run these incredible times. The next thing on Fisher's list now, though, is to start trying to collect some medals, because that's one thing that Galen Rupp was able to do. Is it's one thing to do well at time trials; it's another to be able to close in the final lap of a world's 5K or a world's 10K and finish in the top three. Something that Chalimo has been doing, something that obviously Centro has done in the 15. And Fisher, I guess, now's the time. Like Fisher, this year and next year are going to be his two best chances, I think, of medaling, and it'll be interesting to see if he's able to pull it off.
I believe he closed in 13:10. Is that right? His first 5K they were like 13:23. I believe they were just a little slow at halfway, but you figured with that group together that they were going to be able to pull it off. Okay, so 13:10 trivia question, Gordon. When is the first year Grant Fisher broke 13:10 in a 5K?
Last year?
Correct. 2021. Prior to 2021, Grant Fisher's
That's
PB
wild.
13:11 from 2020. And then before that, 13:29 in 2019. Now, he was a guy who focused on racing in college. So it's not that surprising. Like his PBs never matched his true potential,
Ability.
I felt like,
Yeah.
in college. Yeah. Um, but it is just incredible to think about. Even in his couple years with post collegiate with Bowerman, he hadn't run that fast until last year, and still just a long way from indicating 26:33. I mean, you say you're not surprised, but how many of those high school stars, have exemplary careers? It's still rare to do it. You go back and you look, okay, well, what are the prerequisites to be someone who runs 26 33. Part of it is you gotta start with that amazing level of talent, and you can't overdo it early on. You gotta have that steady build, and you have to just be able to adapt to that training once you get into that pro group and take advantage of all those opportunities, and he checks all those boxes. It feels like in all these Bowerman time trials, it's just somebody always is ready to roll, and I mean, that makes sense, that's why they do them. Well, like, on the women's side, like, Cranny, she did all out of that solo. Fisher had a med in the same way that a couple years ago, remember Houlihan and Schweizer together when they ran that 5K? It's like it's one thing to have a rabbit that takes you a good long, duration of the race. It's another thing to have, like, someone else in there just pushing you that you can race all the way to the line and try to beat them. And in addition to just having this supporting cast around him that's basically unparalleled, having someone like Ahmed to race him all the way to the line is hugely beneficial as well too.
And like, it's gonna be interesting. Like, he did beat Mohamed in this race, and
Yeah,
Mohamed
yeah, that's I was
is a
gonna mention that.
medalist. So,
Yeah,
like, you have to think about this. Obviously, you can be like, it's just a time trial. He had everything perfect. Everything was just set up for him. Like, I don't think Mohamed was there to just let Grant Fisher win. And the fact that Fisher, at a hot pace, was able to hold off Ahmed because they were together basically the entire
yeah,
time is a sign that maybe Grant Fisher is prepared to be in it and finish in the top three at World Champs. But we don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. It's natural for our attention to go to the national records and the fast times, but I thought the same thing too. I said, well, this is two races in a row. He's beaten Ahmed. Now the races at the World Championships, Olympics will look a little bit different, but you're right. That's a medalist there. That's a guy who's no doubt one of the best in the world, a proven talent, and who ran an amazing race himself. I mean, he ran 26:34 and got beat. I don't think. I mean, that's just incredible. How good this race was. And if you told me at the beginning of the year Mohamed is going to run 26:34, that would not have surprised me. You know, he's run under 12:50 outdoors in these time trial settings. Like that would not have surprised me because he was a 12:40 guy versus Fisher, who prior to the year was north of 13 minutes. That's just a huge gulf there. But Fisher's closed that gap, and you're right. This is his time. This is his time right now. What was that? 58 on the close, which is pretty solid. Obviously, off that pace, to be able to close with 58. It'll look a little bit different at World Champs, no doubt. But I mean, how many people do you for sure have ahead of Fisher right now in the 10,000? You'd probably say Cheptegei because world record holder. Borrego won the Olympics. Kiplimo's run about the same time as him. But this it's not a long list at all.
So Fisher starts the year 2022. He has the American, he runs 12:53 indoors, breaks the American record indoors. Then a few weeks later, goes outdoors, runs a 10K in
Mhm.
26:33, breaks that American record, and it's now March 7th. Worlds is in July. USA's is in
Yeah.
June.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is he going to be doing? Like, what's he going to focus on? Like, is he going to be just going and hopping in local 1500s to like work on some speed? But like,
Yeah.
when are we going to be able to, like, are we done with experiencing now like incredible Grant Fisher performances until basically Worlds? Because what is he going to do? He has nothing to prove anymore.
I
His
don't
like
know.
season is basically complete. The only thing left in the season now is making a team and medaling at Worlds. So
He
like he kind of has a
yeah.
long time of kind of like maybe doing nothing.
He ran outdoor times during indoors and ran outdoor races during out indoors too. It's very strange. I have no idea what the playbook is going forward. Do you think he regrets not going to USA indoors now?
No, I mean clearly he knew this was in the cards, and I'm sure he's happy with this performance. But like, I guess he needs to maybe set himself up and go hop in a couple Diamond League 5Ks. That's probably the next step to kind of get your feet
Yeah.
wet with like bumping and shoving around with some of the top,
Right.
East Africans and try to challenge Paul Chalimo in a 5K to get his feet wet. I guess that's because yeah, you kind of like I've done everything except for now I just have to wait. Now he just has to
You
wait
have to
till
wait. He's
USA's,
got to
which is so
qualify
far
too.
away.
He's not even on the team. He's not on the team. So
I
he's
know,
got to.
but like he has this. Everyone is like, oh, we gotta get the standard, and then once we have the
Yeah,
standard, and but he's done that all. It's all done. He has the standard. He has the PBs.
yeah,
It's like we just gotta wait till end of like I feel like we're not going to see an impressive Fisher race until end of May at the Prefontaine Classic, where he's trying to qualify for USA's. And even then, it's probably going to be a sit
right.
and kick. So it'll be like an impressive last
Yeah,
mile where he runs like sub 4 in the